What's the word, man? It's your boy Crick Bleezy and Clout Chasing with Buddy and Bleezy, man. Here with another episode of the BLEEZY Perspective. I know it's been a couple weeks, but just been living life, taking care of a few things. So here we go. Today I want to talk about LeBron. His legacy. Basically, like I was reading a post, like I'm in this basketball group, and the guy made a post talking about LeBron's been on 3 super teams. So I'm here with my opinion on what debunks that. Now, I've compiled a few, stats, I guess, or a little information from just my knowledge. I've done no research, so you can fact check it. I could be off on a couple things, or, could be on point with them. But in my opinion, these are the things that debunk LeBron has played for 3 super teams. Okay, first of all, he went to Miami. Okay, he went to Miami with D Wade and Chris Bosh. Guess you can call them perennial all-stars at the time. But first off, point A, Dwayne Wade was not Flash anymore. Point B, Miami had just come off a losing season, maybe 2 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. But for sure, that prior season, they were not in the playoffs. Point C, Chris Bosh was an all-star. Okay, fine, I give you that. You know what I'm saying? But someone had to be an all-star in Toronto. Someone had to put in buckets. Someone had to get the rebounds. But at that time, to me, I would say he was maybe the 5th, no lower than 7th best big man in the league. Okay, that's respectable. You're supposed to produce. So at this time, D Wade was maybe he was still the top 5 guard in the league, I would assume, but he was not Flash. He was just D Wade. So then that takes me to point D. Now, these were such great players. This was a super team. So even though LeBron had a subpar series against Dallas in the finals, how come these 2 other super players couldn't step up and lead them to the ship? This is a super team now. These super players. Like, if I have 3 super players on my team, and one of them giving me 18 to 19 points a game, what do the other 2 supposed to do? They game on supposed to elevate because he's having a bad series, or their game when he was even supposed to start at a level where they should dominate, period, whether this person's having a off game or not, because they're super players, as one would have you believe. So I'm not really buying into that. So that leads me to point E. So for Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to be such super players, it's amazing, you know what I'm saying, how Kevin Durant individually, James Harden individually, and Russell Westbrook individually have more MVP awards, league MVP awards, than D Wade and Chris Bosh combined through their entire careers. I'm not exactly sure how many seasons each of them played, but I'm pretty sure it adds up to at least 30. I'm gonna say no lower than 27 years. And each of these guys are still in the league, and they have more MVPs than both of them combined. But these are super players that LeBron played with. So point F, just to name a few people that was in and out of the Miami roster during the time that they, had their run. You had Joel Anthony, Norris Cole, Mario Chalmers, Udonis Haslem, Ray Allen, who was maybe 4 or 5 seasons removed from even the Ray Allen in Seattle. Not even to go back to Milwaukee, but he wasn't even the same player that he was in Seattle at that moment. Matter of fact, he wasn't even the same player he was in Boston. But, okay, we had Ray Allen. Okay, Shane Battier, the Birdman, Mike Miller, who was a specialist because he had back problems. It was times he couldn't even walk. You put him in simply to shoot a 3. The other team knows this. So for them to not have somebody stuck in his pocket the whole time he's on the field, on the floor, and he can explode for 7 3-pointers, that's coaching. That's the other team, mental. But, okay, then you had Juwan Howard, Dexter Pittman, even Greg Oden. But these are super teams. And for the players, I forgot, and didn't give credit. That's nothing against nobody. I'm not taking nothing away from none of these players. These are NBA professional paid athletes. They have to have some ability. So I'm not discrediting anyone. D Wade's one of my favorite players ever. UD, Ray Allen's one of my favorite players. So I'm not discrediting anyone. Mario Chalmers is actually one of my favorite players too. When he was with Miami, he was one of my favorite players. Although I couldn't stand him at Kansas after he hit the shot on D Rose now. But the way I developed the love for him is a whole nother story. But anyway, so now I lead from that to his time back in Cleveland. So now he goes to Cleveland. Point A I would like to make about Cleveland. The super player, Kyrie Irving. Excellent ball handler, excellent finisher. The main thing I love is how he finished equally well with both hands. I love it. But let's state some facts now. If I'm not mistaken, I could be fact checked on this, but before Kyrie played with LeBron, his teams never won more than 38 games. Or he never averaged 6 assists or more per season. So if they never won more than 38 games, we don't even need to bring up the playoffs. So then I would like to go to point B. And we get to Kevin Love. Yes, he's a stat stuffer. Numbers were absurd. I think maybe a perennial all-star 2-3 times. He was a baller in Minnesota. Once again, someone had to be. But okay, they never won more than 41 games, if I'm not mistaken. Never made the playoffs. So the point I'm making with that leads me to point C. Take guys like KG, Allen Iverson, even LeBron. These players were on teams where it was widely viewed that they had no help, no real assistance. But these players were at least able to get their team to the playoffs, at least 5 years in a row with just them. So these what you would call great players. So I guess that goes to they were by themselves theory. Great players, legendary players at least get their team to the first round if they're by themselves or not. But I guess everybody don't, see it in that fashion. So now from that, I would take point D. So we go to the first year of the finals. Your two super players, your two other super players, considering this was a super team, we had 3 super players. They don't even play. Well, Kyrie played, 2 or 3 games in the series, in the finals? But either or, there's nothing super about that. A super player can't be injury prone because he's super, right? So now we go to, year 2, Kyrie did make an outstanding shot. He was superb. You know what I'm saying? That shot did not mean he should have got MVP of the finals, but he was superb. He was outstanding. He was what he should have been the year prior and things of that nature. So I give him that. You know what I'm saying? And Kevin Love, he performed. You know, he did his job. But year 3, where was Kevin Love? Injured. What did Kyrie do? Get outperformed. Hey. Which leads me to point E. Kyrie blamed LeBron for him being outplayed by Steph. And he wanted to be traded, so he left. And okay, fine and dandy, that's okay. But why did the Celtics play better with him not playing? Just something I wonder. You know, that's just something I wonder, you know. So then I go to point F. We get to year 4. You see what LeBron did. Okay, they lost 4-1. But how dare you say they lost to a what? Super team. This team consisted of 3 active league MVP awards. Yes, they are active. Steph has 2. Durant has 1. Those are active MVP awards. They have numerous individual league records. These players on this team. You got 2 first ballot Hall of Famers in KD and Steph, and you have 2 other future Hall of Famers in Clay and Draymond. I don't care what no one said about Draymond. Draymond is a Hall of Fame. So we lost to a super team, but they were a super team too. I thought you got to do better than 4-1 to be a super team. So just to name a few people that was there doing the run in Cleveland. Forgive me for those I've left out, but it's just off my head, my stat, you know, my research. But Tristan Thompson, guess that's a legendary player. J.R. Smith, Hall of Famer. D. Wade, Wade past his prime. D. Wade, D. Rose, not the MVP D. Rose. Isaiah Thomas for what? 16, 17 games. Larry Nance Jr., Jordan Clarkson, Rodney Hood, Iman Shumpert, Jeff Green, Richard Jefferson, maybe a future Hall of Famer, but at the time that he got to Cleveland, he was far past his best years. But, you know, I guess that's what make him a super team. Because, you know, every time somebody signs with LeBron's teams, people say, oh, LeBron, I'm getting everyone. Like this person is still the caliber player they were. Which I guess if they were still that player, how would LeBron have a chance to end up with them? Because they would be with someone else already signed, I would assume. So now we get to the Los Angeles years. Point A. Year 1, it wasn't, you know, all cupcakes and smiles, you know, but LeBron did have him in playoff contention, 4th seed. You know, he got injured. You know, old man took a little injury, took a little longer to come back, you know, try to let the young players take hold. Didn't end so well, no playoffs, okay. But this is a super team, I thought. But no, you know, no playoffs. So point B, season 2 is reconstruction. All assets are gone. All assets are gone. You trade away the young talent for AD, draft picks. There's no cap space once you sign AD. There's no cap space, so all the assets are gone. Point C is that AD is a beast. One of my favorite players ever. But honestly, what did he do in New Orleans other than wow us with what he should be? That's all we saw. How much production on the winning side, or the 2 times he got to the playoffs, how much production for wins did those numbers create? So yes, AD was a beast, and you know, we knew what he should have been. Like, come on now. But how long were we constantly saying that AD is a top 5 talent? Till now, how long have we been saying AD is a top 5 talent? once he joined the team. But, you know, ain't gonna say too much about that. So now we get to point D, which is where players like Rondo come in, Dwight, Lance prior to the year of the championship, JaVale McGee. Well, let me go back to Rondo, Dwight, and Lance. Veterans minimum players, which means nobody in the league really wanted these guys. Everybody else had their chance to sign them. The Lakers have no cap space, so they got to sign for the veteran minimum. These players weren't there. Boston Rondo. Rondo was one of my top 5 favorite players ever. Like, I can be honest, that was not Rondo, but he's still a productive performer. Dwight Howard, the Orlando Magic, is my favorite basketball team. So I know what Dwight was. That is not the same Dwight. Lance Stevenson. Everybody know what Lance is. Yeah, highlight reel and a blooper reel. Been that, still was that. Get JaVale McGee. Nobody really want him. Golden State let him go. KCP, nobody wanted him. Get Danny Green in a trade. Nobody wanted him. Markieff Morris, clear wave, was free. Nobody wanted him. LeBron gets him. It's a problem. He's stacking his team. It's a super team. Kuzma, draft day fine. No one expected Kuzma to be an 18 point per game scorer at this point. Maybe never in his career. Then you go to this offseason just passed after the championship. We get Dennis Schroeder. We get Montrezl Harrell. Wesley Matthews. These are nice pickups. Excellent players. But these are not super players. Which of them are super players? For that matter, none of them are even all-star players. But this is a super team that we are speaking of. So, in summary, let's look at this. Out of every teammate LeBron has ever played with, only Shaq and Shaq and D Rose are league MVP recipients. And neither was that same player once they joined with LeBron. You know, if I'm wrong, let me know. So now we go onto the fact that you look at players such as Durant. Durant has played with 4 active MVP awards. 4. Steph has 2. Russ got 1. James got 1. They are active. They're in the league now. Kyrie has played with 6 active MVP awards. LeBron has 4. KD has 1. James has 1. Harden has played with 2. But they are active in their prime still. So it comes down to me, it's the eye test. For me, when you look at who created basketball, you know, this is not to be racist or anything, but you know what the history is. Like, white men weren't as athletic, you know, and the game was created to be a team game where everybody worked together to perform a task that gets us to where we're trying to go. So the rules was made for the game of basketball to be a team game. And what I mean by the eye test is there's no I in team, and the game is about teamwork. So if you classify a basketball player that does everything that the games consist of on every level and makes their teammates better and instill confidence in them, LeBron is the greatest basketball player ever. I just feel like to be as prominent as you are, but to find an open team, man, and he shoot and miss, but to come back and find him again, and he may miss again or make it, but it just instills so much confidence. So my point being is, LeBron James is king and has never played on a super team. He makes his teams super with his presence. With his presence, basketball IQ, and team first mentality. It's Crick Bleezy, man. The Bleezy Perspective, man. Signing out, man.